Welcome to a tutorial on the order of operation presented by the Regent University Math Tutoring Lab. There are 4 parts to the order of operations, which we represent with an acronym PEMDAS, P-E-M-D-A-S. Sometimes we use the phrase, "Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally," to help us remember this. PEMDAS stands for parentheses, exponents, multiplication and division, and addition and subtraction. These are given in the order in which we need to complete them. First, we start with parentheses. We need to work inside the innermost set of parentheses and then work outward. We work inside the parentheses by following the rest of the order of operations without the P. Sometimes there will be more grouping symbols other than parentheses, such as brackets or braces. These are generally used if one grouping symbol is entirely contained within another. Follow the same steps for these symbols as if they were parentheses. When we finish working inside the parentheses, we should be left with a single number. In the following example, we see how to apply this step. We are given 2 plus 3 times the quantity 7 minus 5. We need to subtract the 5 from the 7 before we can move to the next step. This gives us 2 plus 3 times 2. Second, we proceed to dealing with exponents. We work out exponents using repeated multiplication. We multiply the base, which is the regular sized number, as many times as the exponent, the superscript number, tells us to. The exponent tells us the number of factors of a single number being multiplied together. If we need to raise a parenthetical to a power, we need to solve inside the parentheses first, and then proceed. Now let's use the following example to practice this step. We are given 2 raised to the 3rd power, or 2 cubed, plus the quantity 2 plus 2 raised to the 2nd power, or squared. Notice that we have a parenthetical raised to a power. This means that we need to perform the operations inside and then raise the resulting number to the appropriate power. By doing this, we get 2 cubed plus 4 squared. The next step is to use repeated multiplication in place of our exponent. This gives us the quantity 2 times 2 times 2 plus the quantity 4 times 4. After multiplying, we are left with 8 plus 16. Our third step is to multiply and divide from left to right, once we have dealt with all of our parentheses and exponents. When multiplying and dividing, it is important to remember how to deal with negative numbers. Multiplying or dividing an even number of negative numbers will produce a positive result, while operating on an odd number of negative numbers will produce a negative result. If division is indicated by a fraction bar, we need to treat the numerator and denominator as if they are each in a set of parentheses. Sometimes we will not be able to divide our numerator by our denominator, and we will need to leave our fraction the way it is. For our example, we are given 3 times 4 plus 2 times 5, all divided by 5 times negative 3. Our first step is to operate from left to right in both our numerator and our denominator. This gives us a 12 plus 2 times 5 over negative 15. Next, we finish operating from left to right in our numerator by multiplying our 2 and 5. This gives us 12 plus 10 over negative 15. Notice that our 15 is negative because there was only one negative sign being multiplied in the denominator. Last step is to treat our numerator and denominator like they have parentheses around them and operate inside each one. This gives us a 22 in our numerator. Now we have a fraction, negative 22 over 15. We can pull the negative out in front of our fraction because there is still an odd number of negatives being operated on. Now we can proceed to our final step. Our fourth and final step in the order of operations is addition and subtraction. We also complete addition and subtraction from left to right once every other operation has been completed. Again, we need to be careful with negative numbers. Adding a negative number is like subtracting that number, and subtracting a negative number is like adding that number. In our example for addition and subtraction, we are given 5 plus 7 minus negative 8. We start by adjusting for our negative. In this case, we are subtracting a negative 8, so we need to add a positive 8 instead. Now we add from left to right. Adding 5 and 7 gives us 12 plus 8. Adding 12 and 8 together gives us a final answer of 20. Now let's do an example that puts everything together. We are given the following: 19 plus the quantity 4 squared minus 2 times 7 quantity squared minus 1, all divided by 7 times negative 2 plus 5 squared. First, we take care of our parentheses. We start by squaring our 4, which gives us 16. Next, we multiply 2 times 7 to get a 14. Finally, we subtract our 14 from 16 to get a 2 inside our parentheses. Now we can move on to our exponent step. In this problem, we have a 2 squared in our numerator and a 5 squared in our denominator. We operate on both at the same time to get a 4 from 2 squared and a 25 from 5 squared. Now we have 19 plus 4 minus 1 divided by 7 times negative 2 plus 25. Next, we need to multiply 7 and negative 2 in our denominator, which gives us a negative 14. Our fraction is now 19 plus 4 minus 1 over negative 14 plus 25. Now we need to perform addition and subtraction in our numerator and denominator. 19 plus 4 minus 1 gives us a 22 for our numerator. Negative 14 plus 25 gives us an 11 for our denominator. This leaves us with a fraction 22 over 11. If we divide 22 by 11, we get a 2 for our answer. Thank you for taking the time to learn about the order of operations and for making the most of your Regent experience.